Well, hello, Soul Seeker families, and welcome back. I've been, this has been on the card. Well, I keep saying this all the time, but this has been on the cards for some while. So today we're going to explore the ultimate what if. What if Tupac and Biggie had become one? How would the big three power players be today? Would the music be different from what it is now? And most importantly, what message would Tupac and Biggie want to bring to this space? We know both Tupac and Biggie were in their own ways, trying to move beyond the limitations of existing labels. Tupac was even planning his own. We're asking the cards if these two powerhouses had walked away from the division and united, what kind of new power and what kind of new company would they have formed? And what would have been the ultimate fate of Deathrow and Bad Boy Records? So I had an ironic thing because I suppose everybody's watched the Netflix. Well, most people's watched the Netflix um, documentary. I won't go into that. But what I will say is, in my mind's eye, right, this is the vision I received, right, and I had like Tupac sitting by the side of me, right, curious about I can't even remember which part it was. I think it was more nearer to the end. They were curious, right? Well, I would say Tupac more Biggie than Biggie, right? So I seen him in my mind's eye sitting on the edge of bed. I was folding clothes and at the time, and I was like, this is weird. I felt this vision. Didn't see them. I didn't It was more like a visualization. But I felt Biggie was disengaged. Now he was by the wardrobe, sort of like leaning on the wall, and he didn't seem impressed to be there. He just like, well, what's the point? Now, what is the point and all that lot. And Tupac was kind of saying, no, let's hear what they've got to say. I'm interested what it's got to be, what they're saying, right? Now, the to Biggie seemed to be, oh, whatever, so he sort of kind of accepted what Tupac was saying, but he did um make it known that he didn't want to really be there. That's how the impression is. Now, I'm not saying that I picked up spirit and said that. I'm not saying that, but that was the vision. So it'd be interesting to see if the vibe that I was picking up comes out in the cards today. You know, am I picking up their personalities, persona? Was it spirit? I don't know. I can't, but gonna, I'm gonna be like, full face, say what I seen, and yeah, we'll go from there really. So remember, I'm going to do a disclaimer. Remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not here to point fingers or make judgments, okay? I'm simply reading the cards. I've always been fascinated by this story and often wondered what would have happened if these two powerhouses has joined forces. Now, I mean, I'm not very good at, like, I'm not saying I'm not very good at, like I'm putting myself down, but it's not. I I don't know the full background to it. Eric has helped me here get a script up together about the history and bits and pieces as well. So I'm going in kind of blindfolded with a little bit of information. So if I get some of the things wrong about the history and that, I do apologize, and by all means you can put the corrections in in the in the comments below, so but with that being said, let's do our prayer, our open prayer, so to bridge the gap for the sliding doors visions. Okay, Spirit, today I ask permission to look through the veil of what if and into the beauty of what could have been. As I hold space for these two legends, I ask the visions to to see the timeline where the peace took the place of pride. Guide my cards to show the lessons we can still learn from the unwritten history. Let us find the gold in the sliding doors so we can carry the wisdom into our own lives today. And amen. Right, okay, let's see what this goes. So I've got, the reading has got three key points, okay, here. So we're going to do section 1. It'll all be time stamped at the bottom, right? So I got my own views. I'm going to not try to bring that to the table, but if something comes up, I'm not like him doing an investigation about what's happened to them. I'm just seeing, what would have happened if they still continued their friendship and made up and come together. What would be the what would it be? Right. So we're going into section 1, the history and karma. So what would be the missing potential? What was the true? So what was the true? It's not. What was the true? They want to talk, don't they? What was the true spiritual potential that was tragically blocked? So what was the true spiritual potential? We're going to do it in sections. The missing potential. So card 1, but I don't just do card 1s. You know that. So what was the true spiritual potential of these two uniting together? So this is the missing thing. 10 of Swords. Right, okay. So we've got the 10 of Swords, the Knight of Cups. The true potential. What was the true potential? That states that there was betrayal. Was Let me just ask, was this in their relationship dynamics, or was it their relationship dynamics? Queen of Cups. Around, got 2 queens here. That's weird. Okay. Personally, what I feel is that that betrayal they would have got over if they were alive today. This is what I'm going, so if they were alive today and they didn't have, all this didn't kick off like it did, I feel like there would have been potential, right? The 6 of coins says to me that they would have been strong. They would have had strong allies. Okay. So it would be almost like they would be willing to put the past behind them. Here, there's 2 females around this, this energy. So there was 2 females around them at the time that had a heavy influence, had a bit of an influence where this was going to. I don't know. That's how, because it's come up with around the 10 of Swords thing. Okay, what was the tragic plot? Why they turned against each other? So what was the tragic plot of why they turned around together against each other? I've got my personal view on it. Doesn't mean it's true, but yeah. Right. 2 of Wands. What was the tragic block that turned them against each other? Well, that would be money, wouldn't it? That would be money, fame, deception, which we had the Ten of Swords here. So there was allies around them that would have put a block with one another. But I think, again, I think that they would have made it up. They would have sorted it out later on down the line. I think they would have sorted it out. So the block was the connection, the community things, and here was, you know, the potential was that they didn't have an opportunity to make it up, although they, you know, they were together in spirit. That's what I felt. So I feel like they would have bridged the gap. They would have connected. There is some female energy around this as well, that might have created some problems here. But yeah, okay. So the collab energy, if they collabed, so right, so if they got together, right, they collabed, would, if they collabed, what message or energetic legacy would they have left in the, what would they would leave in the world today, you know, if they collabed? There would have been definitely a load of home truths. It was really ironic when I was doing because I've got a book that I'm doing studying. I haven't done it for a while, but I was looking into Tupac a couple of years ago, and his soul number, whatever, I was still like raw to it, but it was the high priestess. So I felt like for that year that he passed, there was there was a lot of things that would have come out that people didn't want coming out at that time. We've got the Hierophant card as this they would have been a they would have been a powerhouse in themselves, but it'd be more about speaking the truth, speaking in lines of like it. This is not all about the fame. This is not all about that. They would have been more coming into more, their voices would have been harsh to reality rather than I want to sex you up type of energy. So they would have been like the high arcana of speaking, not about the fame and fortune and like flashing their money. It wouldn't have been in that way. They would want to touch into real life reality connection here. Yeah. You think of the swords as this is your like, is to do with the truth telling. This is about the strife, the struggles, also the communications. The Hierophant card is someone that we would look up to. So they would have been quite a strong powerhouse, but I do feel, right, well, we'll look into the sliding doors of the hip hop aspect, but I do believe that the energetic level that they would have created would be of something of trying to sort of like overcome these challenges of life and in itself. The Hierophant card comes in so strong as a spiritual leader, and I know Tupac was the voice of the time, and there was a lot of people that held a lot of respect for him there. So yeah, they would have been the voice. They would have been a strong voice. They also, I feel, would have brought new music to the table here with the page of coins. So I feel like they would have been, as time went on, they would have structured things a little bit different to what their music, what you've seen in the past. So they would have built, they would have grown with the times here, but kind of avoiding the flashy cars and that aspect. Yeah, they wouldn't be interested in that. It'd be more about bringing the reality there. Okay, so the healing message, what unresolved lessons their combined spirits are still trying to teach the world and about the brotherhood today. Ten of Cups. They want to bring it together. They don't want the fight. They don't want this fighting, this bickering all the time. They want to you come into your emotional sense. You men, they just want, there's no point in this fighting and bickering here. Let's do things in a tent of bringing people together rather than separating them apart. Yeah, let's reserve our energy for joy and happy. So they want to bring more joy and happy into the community, where we're helping each other out, and we're bringing, so it's all about, I mean, it reminds me of Bob Marley when he was saying one love, it's kind of that vibration, which I'm really shocked about because of Biggie's attitude when he was in my room, like, it's like, oh, but actually I think they would have leaded it more so. Right, we're going to do section 2. Now it's got reverse cards here, and I straightened them out, cleansed the deck, and everything. I don't know. So we're going to look at the hip hop sliding doors, the what if. So this is all be timestamped, right? So we're going to focus on the industry, the power, structural visuals, since you, and the big 3. Right, so we're going to look in Suge Knight, Deathrow, Diddy, Bad Z, and Jay-Z, Rockefeller. I didn't mention him, but we're going to look into it. So, card, the unstoppable force since Tupac was leaving Deathrow. What kind of new label or third entity would their union would have created? So, since Tupac was leaving Deathrow, what kind of label or third entity would their union have created? I did touch on that, but let's see what the cards have got to say. Raw, strong, raw. Oh my God. What? What? How? So his lyrics would be sharp, clear, honest, intelligent, and cutting through the truth. He would have been a rebel. Would you see that? A rebel, a truth, which he was very much a protester as well. So he would have used his, would have used that thing as more of a voice, sharp edge. That's just mad, because there's a lot of air energy into the picture. he would. Yeah, he'd be he'd be bringing it all to the table, basically. So I think he would have had a strong impact in the ward where I think a lot of people would be like, what? Ooh, it would have been like really, he would be going in for the kill. So he would have used something in tent. And I think it would be because of like, if he was alive, he would have figured out who had his back and who didn't, type of type of thing. There's that Queen of Swords come out again. Strong influence of a female, maybe a role of mum. They were involved, weren't they? I don't really know. I've watched the documentaries, I've watched the films and that, but I'm so I'm so a nightmare with remembering things. So I think his intentions to the label would be coming in sharp and using that platform as a way of speaking out, which is pretty much what he did, didn't he? I mean, I listened to some of his music, but not a lot. But from what Eric was saying, he was a very, and what I seen in films and stuff and documentaries, he he was a bit of like the wrecking ball there, with his words. So with a bit of the truth element, he'd be willing to put the fight. So he wasn't gonna be fearful of that thing. So yeah, he would be an unstoppable force in that. What would have happened to Suge Knight Deathrow? Let's look. We'll do it in one. We'll do 3 cards for each. So what would have happened to Suge Knight Deathrow? Ace of Wands. They would have collabed together. I feel like I'm shocked at that, to be honest. But Suge Knight would be quite inspired by what he was bringing out, and it would have brought some connection force into it. So yeah, so they would have, yeah. I think Suge Knight would have improved of it. I'm shocked at that, to be honest. So okay, that changes my thing. So Diddy, the yeah, I ain't even gonna call him a bad boy because yeah. So Diddy. So what would have happened to Diddy? 10 of Cups, 9 of Swords. Oh, it would have caused problems. It would have caused stress. Um, and Diddy would have had to take more risks. There. And he wouldn't know where to go with it because he wouldn't connect in the way, he wouldn't have the connection, the strong connection as Tupac would with the record label. So I would feel like Diddy would have lost a few. I'm wondering if some of the people that Diddy took on at the time, would they've been more going to Tupac's label. Yeah. No, I'm not getting much energy around Biggie, in all fairness. So I feel like Biggie would have been in the background more so. Um, but okay. Right. Jay-Z, Rockefeller. So what would their be? I think it still would have continued, but um they would have had more challenges there. Created bigger problems with Rockefeller, Jay-Z. It would have created more problems. He, um Jay-Z would try to collab with and try to collab and get some kind of security with Tupac in that. It wouldn't have happened. Oh, it's not happening now, but it wouldn't have happened. He would have been disappointed. Tupac wouldn't be interested in him. He's all about the giving and giving and taking, and yeah, yeah. I think Tupac would agree with things but wouldn't act on it. So yeah. Oh, now considering what's in the headlines now, and I know there's like a load of stuff going on with Jay-Z, but we got the devil card. Yeah, out of all of them is the Jay-Z Rockefeller that I'm getting the most negative impact. What's the devil card? What's the devil card represent? This is weird. What's the devil card represents here? What? I I'm throwing this out. I feel Jay-Z wouldn't be where he is today if Tupac became the force. I think Jay-Z would struggle. Well, the Rockefeller would struggle here. So the I know the converse of like Deathrow, but I I would say Jay-Z would suffer the most. Diddy would be kind of like there'd be no emotional stance because he wouldn't be able to compete with thing. But Shook Knight would be engaging in that and use what he was bringing out as what he was bringing out would be like he would use that to use that into his own record label. Do you know what I mean? What direction he would go in. So that's really interesting. What do you guys got? Because I don't know. I don't like I said. I don't know the full details of it. This is what I'm picking up from the cards. I'm quite shocked myself because yeah. I mean, I know. Well, am I? I suppose because if Diddy's not he ain't got the emotional intelligence, is he? No disrespect, but he don't show any compassion or anything, does he, for anybody? Um, I was shocked with Shook Knight, to be honest, but there we go. So the fate, so that was the fate of them. What was the message United would have dominated the media instead of the feud? What message of United would have dominated the media instead of the feud? So what would have been the message? Oh, but it'd be about growth, stability, strong foundations. It would have been like this be real here. Let's get to the real nitty gritty of it all and how we can build people up. Um, it wouldn't be women wouldn't been set, sexually, they it would have been a different, he would have wanted to produce a completely different ball game. So as he would have grown, um I think they would have pulled a different aspect into um the journey. But let's have a look at the, so Earth. So manifesting stability, abundance, and practical security and grounding, right? So grounded, rhythmic, tangible voice of people and solid beat. Hardworking builds a foundation, creates a legacy, documented life on the street, tells the stories of the land, creates a lasting empire, builds a tangible brand, becomes a household name. There you go. And we've got the strong foundations here of what they would have brought in. So it'd be more about union and coming together and uniting forces rather than, you know, so that would be the clip. Wow. All right. So would how would Biggie's and how would Pac and Biggie's relationship would continue through the years if they were alive today? Look at that. It'd have been strong union. It'd have been a strong union. I think Biggie would have, it would make sense with like the vision that I had, that he would have been the backseater. So he kind of would have let Tupac take the lead, but he would be very, very involved and in touch with the the dream. He would have been very in touch with that, and they would have been a balanced union. That's how I would take it with the Justice card and the Eight of Coins. This is about building on the talent and the star. So they would be very like focused on their people that they were trying to get out in the world. Okay, but it would have to been kind of the music um of positivity and bring it, females and male together. So they would have matured over the years into a um strong and wealthy, bigger, I think would be bigger than what is today. So yeah. Okay, that's how I would interpret it. So the current news, how did you, Pat and Biggie, feel about the headlines right now? How do they feel about the headlines right now? Disappointed. Disappointed. They're saying a lot of it is gossip as well. There's gossip going on. There's idle gossip, and more needs to be looked into. The Empress card. So the news headlines, they are happy with how things are progressing with that. They're disappointed because they want to get out of the gossip and actually to the truth of it. Think of the Queen of Wands as someone who they it needs to see, well, I wouldn't say to see two sides, but they do the odd of the balance. So I don't feel like the full truths have come out here, but this is a good foundation for growth for the future of music. Okay, so and how do they feel about the old record label, you know, like the record labels now? So how would they feel? Let's go with Deathrow. Three cups. That didn't make sense to me. Is Deathrow still about? I don't know about that one. I mean, that seems positive. Okay, I don't know. Don't know, what do you think? I'll say it as I see it. So to me, they seem to be happy with how Deathrow went. There was not enough. It was surface. It completed a cycle. So, all right, okay. Diddy, his music label. Picky's Biggie's come into the equation of Diddy here. He's a fool, an old fool. He's an old fool. Splitting of ways. Looking back in the past. We're going in the past. Everything that's coming into light now it's going to start making sense, more making sense, which is going to change the dynamics. Yeah, collapsal. So that's how they feel. They're more drawn to the past. Biggie's come into this reading. I feel like he feels betrayed by Diddy. I don't know who was with who, so I'm really sorry, guys. Right, okay. Let's have a look at Jay-Z, Rockefellers. How do they feel like regarding the... Yeah, that's a dead end. Cut your losses, don't get involved. Page of Cups. Reserve. Oh my God. Now, Tupac's come out in the reading now. There's problematic stuff going on with the labels here. There's issues going on. There's issues going on. Okay. All right. So that's what they see about the player houses. Right. Unless, I mean, is Suge Knight still around? I mean, I know he's in prison, but is his label still around, or is it collapsed? I don't know. Because it looked positive there. I let me know in the comments below what that would have represent. Okay, so advice for the future. What would they like to see in the future of hip hop? For young artists, right? So I'm going to put the cards together. What would they like to see? Shall I do the other? Because they're, yeah, let's do these. So what would they like to see? So what would they like, what would they like to see for the future? I am gonna do another spread to do with hip hop and rap, the history and of today and that. So that's gonna be coming to the channel at some this month. Okay, so what would they like to see for the future of hip hop? They feel like at the moment people's kind of given up on that. They kind of lost their way a little bit, but what they're saying is we can reunite this, we can bring it back together. um Here it is going to be a bit of a challenge to rebuild back our legacy here, but we can do this by allowing things to come from the soul, um what's inside of us. So it's about pretty much what the reading was about, how Pac would have wanted his label to be. What we're not seeing right now, Queen of Jazz. So there is going to be some female influences that's going to be coming out soon. We are going to touch on the past and present, the past, like where it all began, and like the 90s, 80s, 90s, and then the future. But we've got like some female people that we haven't seen as of yet around to do with the hip hop and labels here. Okay, the influence around it is the rhythm. So I feel like a new generational hip hop music is is starting up. This is how they would like it to see, but I do getting the impression that this is already happening as well. We got to let go of the past. We can't look back to that. We can't keep looking back to the past. We got to focus on what we've got to build on now. Yeah. So not fully, it's not fully over just yet. That era is over, but hip hop is not. That's the impression I'm getting, that you got to let go of that. We need to bring back the soul of what hip hop was all about. What we're not seeing right now is, I do see that the Queen of Jazz is, I feel like there's going to be some female influences and stuff. So the Night of Blues is, the full, what they're saying is that we can get back to the rhythm, we can get back to the baseline of what it was all about. We can get back to the foundations here. I know it says jazz, but we can get back to the passions and foundations of where this music came from in the past. So that's the current advice, but I'm also picking up that this can be the next level. So it'd be interesting to sort of see if there's going to be a new record label out there that's going to start taking over a little bit, and others submise. I do see like two, you know, Diddy and Jay-Z, they're going to be struggling with their record label. So I'm picking up that in the reading. Shook Knight, Deathrow. I've seen some positive. I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be someone who's was interacting with Shook Knight, or their record label's going to come a bit more stronger, or if there is like behind the scenes of Deathrow happening and resurfacing. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the full history impact on that. But that is, yeah. What do you think? What do you think I was picking up? I mean, I don't, like I said, I'm not stating that I know the full whack of rap and hip hop, you know, so you have to bear with me here. But yeah, let me know your thoughts here. They would have been a strong union, but I do feel like I felt that Biggie would have been by the side of Tupac, but Tupac would have been the strong leader in the company, and they would have brought some. I think they would have be more in the background. So I didn't feel they would bring much music. They would be pushing. If anything, I seen Tupac would have been more bringing that music into it, but I think they would have been a heavy influences on artists today and into the future if they became big. So yeah, they were feared. They were feared if they went out and thing. But I was really shocked about Shook Knight and how he would have been impressed by what Tupac was bringing in. I don't know. What do you think of it? Anyway, so I'm gonna close down this. So I thank the ancestors and the spirits of the past for allowing us to this glimpse into the different world. While we cannot change what was, we can honor the legacy by choosing unity in our own time. I now close the door to the what if and return fully to the now, ground into the truth of today. I release the energy with love and respect for the journey, and so it is. I hope you enjoyed. I did get a bit confused on a few aspects. It's like, what? But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did. I found it a very interesting spread. Let me know if you want me to touch on these guys again in the future. I'd be quite happy to. And yeah, anyway, or if you know of what ifs, is there something that you would like me to touch on? A what if spread, you know, going to the sliding doors. Yeah, let me know, and please like, subscribe if you got to the very end. Give me emoji to say, you know, you don't have to sort of like comment, just emoji would be helpful. And there's this new thing now that you can do rather than just like, I'm not really I can't remember what it's called, but if you know, you know. But you know, oh, I'm gonna stop there because I'm waffling now, and yeah, I'm getting myself in a pickle. Anyway, leave it as that. Take care, lots of love, and see you on the other side.